Mm-hmm. Sure, man.
Hey guys, this is Robert, and today it's gonna be one of those type of episodes where we're just gonna chill and chat about whatever. I wanted to introduce a guest who you might have seen on their YouTube channel. They also do interviews with voice actors and musicians and all that. So we have Christian Ocampo. I'm bad with pronouncing last names, but yeah, we have Christian from the Ohio guys. You might have seen their YouTube channel. Pretty good stuff. So yeah, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Robert. I'm happy to be here. It's great to finally make this happen. We've been trying to make this possible for quite a while now, just with scheduling and all that stuff, just kind of not being there. And now finally, we've got the chance to meet face to face for the first time. So I'm very happy that we got this working now.
For real, man. So, anyways, yeah, now that we finally made this happen, I guess my first question to you is, so I guess for anybody who's been, I mean, it's not so often that I have like guests on my show that also do interviews. So I guess my question to you is, what got you interested? Like, when did you actually start having the getting this like idea of just, hey, maybe I could let's talk to other people and just learn more about, what they do and all that stuff. So when did this begin for you?
I'm glad you asked the question because there's going to be a lot to kind of unpack here. So it's going to be a bit of a lengthy answer. So to kind of break it down for you, I want to say probably like the late 2000s, early 2010s. You always heard the voices in video games, American cartoons, Japanese animes, so on and so forth. So I kind of had like ideas of big names out there, whether it be the Mao Blancs of the cartoon world, and then a little bit of like the Troy Bakers of the video game worlds. So I already kind of had a few names right there, kind of in my memory bank. And then as I got more into like the anime world, like 2011 was the time where I started spending more time on anime because I really had like a very small sliver of what I watched for anime. So it kind of increased after 2011. So afterwards, I started like learning about these voices, these more human type of voices for the most part, where you had human beings behind the mic speaking through these anime characters. And one of the most memorable animes of all time was Clanad. So when I watched Clanad, I was very interested in all the characters as well as the actors behind the voices. So then I started doing some research, doing some digging. So I got some big names out there, like the David Matrangas, the Lucy Christians, the Greg Arises. Those folks been doing anime for a long time, since the early 2000s, and just seeing their big resume, I was like, wow, like, and then the way they speak, the way they articulate the voices struck me just in a audience perspective, seeing them play these very emotional parts, these characters, and these different type of shows. They carry kind of like that same impact in each show, and you just can't help but be captivated on how much you get invested to what's going on in these plots. So then doing some research and studying, I found out that guys like David really get much interviews, nor did Lucy in the first start. There were like maybe like a few here and there, but and then when you see like their counterparts would be from like Funimation, Bang Zoom, where you can find like I'm going to drop some names. Whether it be the Crispin Freemans, the not Michelle Rose, the Sea Blooms, the Meredith McVan, you see how many interviews they've done, and it's like wow, like you can see like videos after videos of them. And then for me, like seeing the folks in other areas, you either see zero interviews or maybe like two interviews, and I was like, huh, okay, I want to hear their thoughts on these shows. I want to know about these other new shows that are coming out after 2011. And then I started like seeing that there's a way for me to get into that, do interviews, met the Ohio guys in 2013 in Chicago, Illinois, and then they were doing interviews by that point, and then I started following in their steps, and then starting to meet doing interviews, conducting them. And what really helped in my journey, I was able to move to Los Angeles in 2015, and I was able to like meet and schedule interviews with some of the LA talent and get tons of interviews, and that kind of really opened the a bit doors for me and for the channel, where we start interviewing people that even though they got few interviews from there, or we just didn't get enough from them by that point. So that's kind of a big answer for you, just on how it has kind of propelled over the course of time. And I'm happy to keep doing it to this day, getting more interviews with like newer folks or folks that have been veterans, but not many people have reached out to them for interviews. So that's been a caveat, just getting the channel going. So that's that's kind of the gist of it.
Nice. So, how did you come up with the name Ohio Guys for your YouTube channel?
When I joined the Ohio guys, it was already the name given. What ended up happening was the Ohio guys, the original members, which they're no longer in the group, it's just me going forward. When they were traveling for conventions, meeting actors, one of the biggest supporters was Greg Ayres, as I mentioned earlier today, who always was seeing the members at his autograph table and at his panels. So he kind of really started recognizing by their faces and by their names, and to the point where when they started doing the interviews, he was the one that came up with the name. Like, hey, you guys are all from Ohio. Why don't we just call you guys the Ohio guys? And so that name has stuck ever since then, because there was a bit of more of an honor to that when a actor who's really well known in the community, who's really established throughout their resume, is one to kind of like bless them, christen them with a name. It's one where you rather just take that name that was given by a voice actor than trying to like spend some time amongst yourself trying to come up with a name. So it kind of came out as just a more recognizable name, just because of the years, the interactions that has really been built, and all the time that they have met over that course of time. So that's how the name came about. Planning keeping the name here on out because it's already been established almost 10 years now of doing interviews and meeting with voice actors and all that convention traveling. So that's the basic answer I can really give just on why the name even exists up to this day.
So, how do you prepare for the interviews? What's the, I guess, process that you do before you actually, like, I know there's a lot of scheduling that's involved, but um, if you're interviewing like a specific guest, like, what goes into the process of preparing for it, like for each individual guest? Does it depend? Is it mostly the same, or how does it go for you?
For me, it kind of depends on the actor. If they're a veteran, if they are been around for a few years, or if they're kind of brand new to the industry. What kind of gets me prepared in terms of like questions? I'll just look at the resume. I'll pick like maybe like five or six that they are either known for or what's kind of really been established in their career. So that's one of the questions I use. And what I like to do is throw in like a bit of like a curveball question. And I say that as maybe someone has really asked certain shows that are like big in the industry, whether it be like a Dragon Ball Z question, rather be a Bleach, Naruto, those big names. Okay, so 100 interviewers already asked that question. Okay, maybe I don't need to answer that question because it's been answered. Why talk about something like more obscured, maybe underrated, or something old school classic that the fans either don't know about, or maybe like the old school fans that have known them for X amount of years, will kind of be like excited, like, oh wow, you've asked this question that nobody else has asked. And I found out that's a great attention grabber. And you can see with the actors, the veterans, when you ask those questions, it's like a blast from the past. We're like, wow, like that's not been asked, and then they still remember the show or the title, whatever it might be, and then they start to kind of like talk about it. And then me, who enjoys the more lesser known titles, I can just bounce the ball with them back and forth, explain why I like to throw that in, why I enjoy that show for what it was and what it meant to me and other audience members that enjoy that show or title. And from there on, it's again, it's like again bouncing the ball. Like it's conversational where you hear their thoughts, I give a bit of my thoughts on why I think it was great, why it stood out, and so it kind of helps me kind of prepare. Okay, I know that this one is a a great conversation. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Dave Mitchell, people know him for his role in the 2018 Spider-Man video game. I asked about Little Bush, a cartoon on Comedy Central that came out in the mid to late 2000s about President George Bush and his family and all the politicians. Even though like it's not one of those big names he's known for, I just knew that because it's a comedy show, a comedy cartoon. I knew it had some good stories behind it, and sure enough, when I asked that, Dave just started talking about like everything, like how the recording happened, how the casting happened, because it was just a conversation in itself on how everything came together, and it was just a great just hearing him talk about like what I meant to him and how it kind of really got the ball rolling for his career in voice acting, as well as some of his other colleagues that did not know about this until he told him about the show. So his friend who did the voice of President George Bush, he was the one that told him, "Hey, you should do it," because he's like, "I know you've done George Bush's impressions. They're basically looking for a guy like you." And sure enough, he auditioned, got the role. So now he's Dave's in the show, and his good buddy is in the show playing the main character of George W. Bush. So yeah, I know this is a long-winded answer, but it's those type of small things that when you're putting questions together and you kind of get like a feel like what kind of answers it might give out during the questions, then you start to have like these type of interesting talking points and just hearing their stories, and it makes the interview even more amazing to hear, just listening to the journey, listening to where they've gone from A to B to C and D. So again, just good things, little tips I kind of like learn myself, and I kind of like maybe like watch other interviews that kind of help me to understand, okay, what's been asked, what's been asked. So it helps me pick the questions as well as help gives like direction on where to go when talking about these titles and part of the stuff they've done in their career. If that answers your question on this interview.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite interviews that you've done so far?
Uh that's a hard one because just me doing all these interviews, they've all been amazing in their own way, especially just hearing them talk, just getting the opportunity to sit down and just hear the thoughts. I mean, I guess I can name you like special ones, like memorable ones I can mention would be like Dave Matringa. It was a blessing and honor because he was one of my first 10 interviews that when I first started. And I was a big fan of his because of the way he talks, his delivery, where he can make any character, any scene seem very sad, especially with like animes that talk about life struggles, about internal conflict. There's just something about his style of acting that stands out. So he's always great to kind of like talk about these titles and peel back on these shows, or be like Kanad, 5 centimeters per second, and many others that he's done. And I'm trying to think another one that stood out. And I guess to one that's remember was my first ever interview was with DC Douglas. And I was very nervous on that one because he he's a very funny guy. He's someone that really understood if someone's new to something, and he can bounce with the flow. And it was kind of glad to have someone that can be at my level when I'm trying to do interviews. So that's one member one I will still remember to this day. And another one that's like memorable for me would be with Brian T. Delaney. His name kind of like spiked in 2015 when he was announced as the main male voice for Fallout 4. And that was also the time when I was living in Los Angeles. So it's really easy to make the scheduling happen, sit down with him. Not sit down, well, we stood up actually, but like arrange a time. Like he was so down to earth that this is a man who's more known for his video game roles. Like you see, he's got like a resume behind Halo and other great video games, and it's like wow, like this is amazing. Like this man who is big in the video game world, and he's like one of the few ones I've had that's all video games and very little anime involvement. So it was a different type of dynamic when it comes to doing interviews with those that I've known for animes, video games, or cartoons. So there is a bit of like you can feel like the difference, and then the shows themselves they've done, the titles they've done. So those are kind of like the top three number ones I can really talk about right there. Uh, yeah, I really hope that answered your question because I just can't pick a favorite because everyone's special in their own way, and then just kind of like meeting up with them, trying to get us all together because it's it's great that they can make the time, set the time on the side to meet with me because sometimes it can be in the way taking time out from their daily lives. I've had interviews that have gone for like an hour, sometimes even like more than 2 hours, and I'm just like honored that they can give me this much time out of their day when they could go out to the park or something, they can go watch TV, do something that they enjoy. Instead, they are giving me their time of day, making these interviews happen, and I'm very appreciative of that whenever they can spare the time for me.
Yeah. So as far as conventions go, what's been your overall experience of, going to cons and meeting all these people and just interacting with the fans and, all that good stuff, cosplay, everything.
I've in the 10 years I've been doing conventions, I've really enjoyed it, especially when it comes to meeting the voice actors. And I don't really get to say this often, especially on YouTube or in any platform. But this is like my own personal philosophy, my own personal belief when it comes to meeting voice actors. Because again, especially the English voice actors, I know there's like different debates, talking points about their presence in the anime community or anime in general. Voice actors, they are almost like the bridge between the fans that watch these animes and to the anime characters that they play themselves. Like they understand the characters, their acting skills, the year spent learning their craft. They've studied like what objectives they have in this anime, this video game, this cartoon. They understand the overall uh storytelling in these shows. like they are that small embodiment of these characters in the shows that they're part of, and then fans kind of meet them is like, again, just a small little portion of them, like as if they came out of the end of these titles, like they came right off your TV screen. So you get that kind of like bridging points because people may not see it that way. They might see it in different context or connotation. But that's why I kind of believe that they do pull that string from the anime world and they bring it into the real life world. So it's just amazing just kind of seeing these actors take that piece with them from outside of these titles and into these conventions where you the fans can talk to them. You get to get autographs, and especially like the autograph stuff. Like I like to collect my animes, my video games, my posters, wall scrolls, whatever merchandise I might have. Especially again the lesser known titles they've known for, and you see the reaction where they either don't see this often or they don't see it at all. And then for me to like bring it, they're like shocked and like, wow, like they haven't seen this in so many years, or they did not know they made any merchandise on this, and just seeing like the reactions, like, wow, like they know that me or the Ohio guys collect the rare stuff, especially stuff that import from Japan, where I'm more than happy to pay like the extra buck to get shipped over, import, pay the importation tax, whatever, because it's rare stuff. And just seeing their reactions, it's amazing because it shows that there are fans that are willing to go above and beyond to get to purchase certain merchandise on titles they that they have in the resume, but not expressed as much as the bigger stuff that they're known for. So to kind of like climb at the same level is mind blowing for them. And I've seen it and I've been thanked, I've been complimented, even to the point where if I find like an extra copy, I'll gift it to them because they love this very obscure title that doesn't get as much love or attention as the big boy stuff, and then to them to like have physically. Perfect example would be David Wold. David Wold's voice actor in Texas between Funimation and Sentai Filmworks, directed what was it? Love Stage, a uh, a BL show, and he couldn't find any merchandise from it besides the DVD copy from Sentai Filmworks. But we found a poster from Japan and gifted to him and thanked us profusely for finding something that he personally enjoys and wish there was more merchandise of. But again, depending on what kind of show we're talking about, what kind of genre it is, it may not get as much mainstream attention as some other titles. So yeah, again, another full blown answer to you, but that's what comes to me when we're talking about conventions and meetups and all that stuff. So yeah, just a lot to unpack there.
Oh, wait. Let's see. Is there like, do you have any plans for the future? Like, what you got going on? Like, anything that we can expect to see on the channel soon? Because I know that, I think as far as I know, I think it kind of took a little bit of a hiatus due to just work and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Or
Yes.
is it
So
something else?
yeah. So again, this is gonna be a bit of a multiple answer
Okay.
for this question. So I wouldn't say it was a hiatus. So I made no secret on this one. Uh, Obviously, if you guys look at the Ohio Guys channel, it is not monetized. There's no join button. This is all a passion project. So you will never see any ads unless the algorithm throws it in without my knowledge or my control. So everything I put on the channel, this is actually for my free time. Whenever I get the chance to put interviews, and sometimes I'll make funny Twitch compilations of voice actors that do Twitch as well. I'll like put like little funny moments, like added together. So just a little extra uh content to have that I can put out, or I'll do live streams on the channel of video games that I personally want to put in, and what YouTube will allow on streaming. Some video games you cannot, anything under Bandai Namco cannot be streamed. So I learned that lesson the hard way when we were suspended for what 3 months with no streams. So that that kind of hurt the flow of getting content on the channel. So yeah, so I'm very selective on what can be played. As long as YouTube says you can play this, or they say you can't, then I can't. So we can expect in the future. So on my personal Twitter page, and even on the Ohio Guys Twitter page, I have I have donations, pillowcases, and bed sheets. I'm planning to donate to a convention or a few conventions that have charity auctions, and they have so many signatures on them in the last 8 years, since 2014, 2015. So it's got like voice actors from California, from Texas, from New York, and some from Canada. And it even has two pillowcases in particular have signatures from YouTubers. I got some from the Game Grumps, like some of the ones from the members of 2015 before they start parting ways. So I'm really excited to get that donated, because I'm hoping it will go for big amounts and go to good charitable cause. Because I'm someone that wants to try and give back to community whenever I can, especially if I can bring out a item of this nature, of this caliber, something that's neutral in the world of both YouTube, voiceover, something very simple where it's got signatures that can go for a good amount, but again, be used for good charity, whether it be for research for brain cancer, whether it be something for the Heart Association, just anything of that sort. I'm all for putting money towards those organizations. And that's what I'm really hoping to get the ball rolling. In the last 2 3 years with the pandemic has kind of slowed things down, because conventions were some had to stake those because of quarantine and all that. So with conventions slowly, or have been coming back ever since then, hoping to get it donated as soon as possible, and then I can finally start to at least put some updates, letting people know that hey, it has been donated, this how much is raised. Because I really hope that all the people that watch my channel would consider doing something similar, even if it's like something small, smaller than a pillowcase, just something they can do if they are at a convention, meeting some voice actors. If you guys get your personal stuff signed, and then maybe have the time to ask for like extra signatures, that way that can also be donated to a convention that hosts a charitable donation. That's one of the biggest impacts I'm hoping to establish more in the coming future.
Mhm. Yeah, so do you have like any favorite shows or games or just any piece of media that you really enjoy?
Yeah, so favorites, and I say favorites in terms of what has really impacted me as an audience members, what's kind of impacted a part of my life when I wake up each morning, when I think about the messages that these titles, these mediums have portrayed to me. Like if we're going with anime, like I would say Kana is my favorite anime of all time. And I say this because it is one of the most heart wrenching shows that really focuses on like the importance of family, the importance of loving your close ones at heart. It's one I can really recommend. That again, it tries to be family friendly for the most part, because I try to be very careful what I recommend for people that are first new to anime, or people want to explore something different from the usual flavor of anime. Otherwise, there's like a list of great shows I can recommend that are similar to that, or just in terms of impact that wow the audience person in terms of storytelling, character development, or just the artistic style and aesthetics of it. Then yeah, there's a bunch I can recommend that I can go through. And like video game wise, Kingdom Hearts 2, one of my favorite sequels of all time in the entire franchise, just by the gameplay of it, the storytelling, just that 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 concept of bringing worlds together still was new during that time period where we didn't get much of that during the 2000s. We got a few more after that that tried to follow its formula, but that one stands out because it's one of the first few ones that have done it in a very artistic manner in a way that has captivated me and its fans over the years. Uh, what else? And I guess we're going to do like maybe like TV series. That's gonna be a tough one because I'm kind of big on the Game of Thrones world. Uh, House of the Dragon is amazing. I'm hoping to really champion that one as my top non-animated, just full live action, just human beings on TV. That's one I really want to have as my top favorite, just by its storytelling, just its medieval setting, trying to be more realistic in terms of warfare with no magic involved for the most part, just human strategy and just human ingenuity behind everything done from its conflict standpoint. Fair movie all time. I'm gonna say this right now. No Country for Old Men, just by its very subtle storytelling, its its characters, what do you call it? I guess it's like more of that cat and mouse type of conflict where you have the villain and the protagonist trying to outwit each other, trying to be one step ahead of time. Like it's not over it's not over dramatic, it's not too crazy with the action scenes, nothing too over the top, not it's not too Hollywood. I just enjoy what the Cohen brothers have done with this movie, and I'm glad that it won an Oscar in 2008. And I'll say this: the ending may not have been my cup of tea, but overall, the movie is one that I remember to this day, and I recommend people to watch it if they haven't. And I still can't believe in like almost more than 10 years, it's considered a classic because it was still new to me when I was in high school because it was just a great movie, just seeing how simple storytelling and movies can be when it's not trying to be over the top on certain elements. So yeah, I think that's what I can dish out here in this question.
Alrighty. So, any last like piece of advice or just anything that you want to close out on?
Piece of advice in terms of people that want to start their own interview channel, their own YouTube. My advice would just be kind of research on what you want to bring into the world of YouTube and what you want to, in a way, contribute to the community, whether it be the video game community, the anime community, cartoon community, just any community that involves the media or any of these mediums. See what it is, what's not out there that has been done yet. If there's other people that have done something, okay, see what they've done, and then see what they didn't do, and then capitalize on that. That way, you can build a foundation around your channel, as well as interviews. have something that you really want to talk about, what you think that the guest wants to really talk about, that they can build like a conversation, keep the ball bouncing back and forth. That way you have you have something, some content that you really are proud to present to the communities or to your audience members, because it all comes together. It becomes memorable. It becomes something where people want to come back for, to further support you in the coming years or so forth. So that's what I want to kind of leave out on that aspect. But I guess in terms of, I guess what you want to do for the actors we enjoy, that we appreciate, the voice actors, or even maybe like the on camera actors, I would say just see what support they're at, especially if they do outside projects, stuff that may not be voice acting related. Maybe they are writing their own stories. Maybe they play instruments. They're in a band. Maybe they do something completely different, and you want to support them. Whatever it might be, financially, buy the products that's outside of their the wheelhouse of voiceover or acting. Whether it might be like a Patreon, that'd be like a coffee, just something of that nature, of that caliber. And I guess just knowing like their interests, because even these actors have their own favorite video games, they have their own favorite shows they watch, or they have their own favorite hobbies. Like sounds like it could even be sports, surprisingly, and just kind of like know like where their interests are at, because that can really kind of help in terms of when it comes to talking to them, or in some cases, uh, I'll give you one example. Eric Kimmer, a great guy. He also does wrestling on the side, so you will see him jumping on the ropes when he's at a professional wrestling match in California. So buy the tickets, go see him, uh, go to support him as well on his Twitch channel. A lot of voices have Twitch channels. Subscribe to them. If you have a Prime Amazon subscription, you can always use that to subscribe to the channels. Or there's just so many ways to support your favorite actors these days. It's just you just got to know like what they have and how you can contribute and how much you can contribute on those different platforms. So I'm very big on that as well, just trying to support them any way possible.
Sweet. So thank you so much for joining. And yeah, be sure to catch this whenever it goes up. And I'll chat with you all next time. This is Robert Jackson signing out. And until then, have a good day. Peace.